Copy of the agenda.
Please.
Two more stairs.
Thank you very much.
I don't think you need everything, but.
Yeah, pull it up.
What's here? It's from like yesterday. Pretty good debate.
All right, to go, Ms. Chairman.
Are they here?
We're good to go, Ms. Chairman.
Call to order. So we pledge allegiance to the flag, correct?
Okay.
Pardon?
Right up there, yes.
Yeah.
believe you.
Oh, there you go. So start screen. Stand up and look at the flag over to the right of the room. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody. So we're going to go into the roll call now.
Commissioner Amy. Commissioner Gillum.
Here.
Commissioner Angovia.
Here.
Commissioner Marissa Lindsay. Commissioner Paul Lindsay.
Here.
Chairman Rennie. Commissioner Rosen.
Here.
Commissioner Rossini Lapierre.
Here.
Commissioner Stan. Commissioner Gallagher.
Here.
Commissioner Sani.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Lucas.
He's online. Thank you.
And you're all set.
Great. So moving on, approval of minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes? And if so, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second. Okay, second. All right, wonderful. Documents, are we rolling down here to the EDC regular meeting minutes?
No.
Can you read? Is that
You
everything?
just accepted the minutes.
Okay,
right?
I just want to
So-
make sure I
Yep.
wasn't missing anything.
Nope,
All right.
you're good.
Public participation. Is anybody online that would like to participate?
There is no one online at the moment, Ms. Chairman.
Awesome. All right.
I
Then
never
we
knew there
will-
was a phone number. Never realized that.
Oh, well, I didn't either, actually.
It's there.
All right.
We want people to participate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you make it as easy as possible. That's good, something good to note. All right, moving on, the Chamber of Commerce report. Kathy, did you have anything for us today?
So we had our meeting this morning, and I guess the biggest things going on with the chamber right now, we're focused on a golf tournament. It will be August 4th, and going forward, it will always be the first Monday of August. They are still looking for golfers.
Where the hell is it? Sorry about that. I didn't do it.
We needed a dance break, I guess. I don't see dance break on the agenda,
There you go.
Fernando.
So golf tournament, looking for golfers, looking for sponsors.
Yeah.
The car show is coming up on the 19th. That also is gonna offer sponsorships. And we're gonna have a DJ. A couple of ribbon cuttings coming up. And I think that's kind of it for the moment.
That's a lot.
So it is a lot. It is a lot. Looking forward to the focus right now is fundraising on the golf tournament. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. I think that's it. I was trying to think if there was anything else I missed.
That was the big
No, I
stuff.
think
That's a lot of stuff. So,
Okay.
great. Thank you for that, Kathy. Old business, the Hobby Odyssey. Jonathan, I guess this goes over to you.
Did everyone have the opportunity to look at the documents that were attached? So I know I'd asked that, people not respond, then to the email exchange, just so to make sure that we could have, correspondence in the public forum as much as possible. So that being said, I think probably it'd be best to go over the one pager first.
Okay.
It's up there already. Well done. Cool. Awesome. Is there any notes or any considerations or anything that anyone would like to say about that? Any changes, comments? Anything? No? Or-
Do you want to just kind of give us an overview, Jonathan, for everybody who might be catching up and watching
Yeah.
this replay?
Yeah, so the one pager, so the form and function is supposed to be a one-page document that we would be handing out to educate business owners on as to what this program is supposed to be, what it hopefully will entail. Just as concise as possible, as informative as possible. We do want their buy-in, we want their support, especially the businesses who would be interested in participating, but we want to give them as much information as possible, as well as references for contacting us and follow-up and next stages in the plan. Just make sure we're as detailed, organized, and transparent as possible. This is, what we're trying to do, what we're thinking about doing. What are your thoughts on it? Please contact us back with interest, whether you're interested in just being informed on it, or whether you're interested in participating as a business, to kind of just get us on the same page of who we could see in town, really enjoying this. And I think the one pager shouldn't be anything too complicated, should be as simple as possible, straightforward as possible. I hope it is that. Yeah, if there's any commentary or anything on there that you think stands out. I know it is technically 2 pages from the PDF, which is, in violation of what a one pager is. I apologize for that.
You can reduce the font size.
Huh?
You can reduce the font size.
That's it, it'll all-
Yeah.
Well,
I think
well,
that's-
it was because it was in a Word document that I think got converted to a PDF. So
Got it.
That'll do it.
technology is evil. We all agree on that. And that's an example right there. Yes, yeah, but Hunter's correct, just reduce the font size. Yes, is there anything there that you guys want added, removed, edited, changed in any way, shape, and form?
I think you're still gonna get questions about
Yes.
what it is and the purpose,
Sure.
but I think you've done a good job of trying to
Hmm.
make it succinct.
Yeah, so this document is definitely more informative rather than example based, which is the example is basically hopefully a in practice what it would look like, at the final stages that would be applied, and you could say this is what we hope the Hoppy Odyssey, the journey, this would end up in, is this kind of as succinct as possible in that way, so that they can hopefully have what we want to do and what we're working on and what the plans are, what that pathway forward is. And then the example is hopefully ideally what we would be ending up at. Again, things change as much as possible. Try to make sure you hit that target. You can't necessarily every time, but as much information as we can with intent and belief and as clear as possible, that's the hope of what it is. So I think the one pager does that. But yeah, to your point though, and I think the example document with the one pager, ironically enough, would do well together. So I think that as a handout together would be beneficial within the town to any businesses that are interested, not interested, any, like even the golf tournament with the chamber, like having that as, I don't know, are there tables in golf? I don't know. Like put it on a table.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
you could have
there's
to.
gonna be,
If they're sponsors, I would imagine,
yeah.
You don't have to.
No, oh, no, I think you could. I'm thinking in my head, my brain is thinking, this is probably gonna be maybe a certain age demographic versus different things that we do. So this might be good to have different opportunities for people.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Would the chamber send this out to kind of get the word out? I
I
think that
don't-
would be,
I don't think there would be any problem.
yeah, I mean, that would be a great way, instead of setting up a table to,
Yeah.
another piece of paper, most when you're at a golf
Yeah.
tournament, that's the last thing you want, but
It's windy.
I will ask if that bends any
Outdoors.
rules. I don't think.
But
it
here's a
does.
great idea, if you want, you could put it, if there are goodie bags,
Mm,
you could
Yes.
print it out, fold them up, put them in the goodie bags, and then people just take them home and have a chance to look at them then.
yeah. I would say origami, but I can't do origami.
There you go, fans.
But then they may not read it. You should go crunch them.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that. We could do real fans though.
Only,
With the spray with the water.
Only piece of information I'm not certain on is like telling them about potential support and grant partners.
Yeah, that's fair. That gives an expectation.
Right, but and that's what we have to determine is like, is the expectation that we are providing some sort of funding support when they're putting on these events? Or are they gonna be fully on the business to help put them on?
Well, I mean,
We're exploring.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So
I think that's your role.
Yeah,
tonight.
so for me, it's the potential external support. I do want to tie it to potential. I mean, CTD, ECD, that's a state funded thing. So I think that's gonna be potentially tough. I mean, we could be more vague with how we describe those organizations and just say state.
Right.
State funding. I don't know what that, what potential that is. I definitely want to believe that there is something within the state mechanisms that could have funding, support, and opportunity. I don't know what program it would be, or opportunity, or grant, award, name, or any of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No,
But
I
so
agree. I agree that we should pursue it and look for that opportunity. I just want to make sure that like if we are telling these businesses.
Putting it in
that-
writing.
Right,
yeah,
if we're
make sure
putting in
not
writing
promising.
that we make sure
Yeah.
that it's a possibility.
Potential, external support and
Right,
grant
right.
partners. Okay.
So just
Yeah.
being nitpicky, not fully
No.
shooting anything down.
No, you're advocating for the business and the clarity, especially with costs, because you don't want to promise or agree or front or sign up for something you don't understand the cost of.
Right.
And this is definitely not an agreement in any way, shape, and form. I think it's just more of a understanding of interest.
Here's what we're looking to do, and if you're interested, we'll give
Yeah.
you more information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely not
totally
a
agree.
promise or commitment on any amount or scope of funding, because I don't know also too if there's a funding that we're able to get or potentially have awarded to us, but it would be restricted on the usages such that it wouldn't be based on a technology or wouldn't be based on something that we would want to do.
Right.
And that would be unfortunate. So I think as specific as we know at this time, which would be, state agencies that we could assumedly partner with, so something like a DECD, Department of Economic and Community Development, who would certainly be interested in something like this. CT Main Street, I think in general that, they may not be able to directly, they may not, but I think as an organization. So I think just clearing those up makes sense. And then, just emphasizing the potential external support. Maybe even with an asterisk, just, we have no agreements or partnerships or awarded things yet, but we hope to move these forward in that way.
I would write something like that, and just so there is no
disclaimer,
expectation.
yeah.
Disclaimer of we don't have.
It doesn't exist yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
The opportunities for potential.
Disclaimer.
And that's probably a great segue for
Yep, that's
our
awesome.
guest speakers this evening.
Yeah, so I want to let you know, so again, Paul Dixon, for those who are watching along, town planner. I've invited Sonia Richmond here tonight from Sonic Group. We work together with her on grant opportunities, but also specifically for, what you were looking to do with the Hobby Odyssey combined with the business outreach and these type of programs. I think the goal is over between this meeting and next meeting is to be able to do some research and to provide some kind of a little bit of a framework. Because, I've been watching along, I do watch the meetings, just to see how it's progressing. And, you have these ideas that it really hasn't been pushed forward as much in the past or in the recent history. We haven't seen this, enthusiasm, which is great. So my goal here tonight is, again, to tell you that over the next month, to kind of look at these and to look at kind of a business assessment, what's out there, what categories could kind of work in this type of Hobby Odyssey or a larger type of program. Because again, this might just be a good start to like a aspect of it. I think at I think it was actually your last meeting, there was kind of a lot of discussion about, okay, what about other businesses? This is more about hobbies. How are other people represented? And that got me thinking about what is kind of the larger framework. So I think the goal would be to kind of look for, again, develop that framework, look at comparative programs. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. This has been done by other towns in the past and looking, nationwide to see how this has been done. So again, I'd like to introduce you to Sonia. I don't know if you would like to add anything to that.
No, I'm just, the big thing about grants is when you're looking for funding, they want to know if there's enthusiastic participation. And look what you got here, right?
There we go.
So, and the diversity of business types is also pretty key. So you have like the beginnings, the basis of it. Grants have a long runway. So what I'd like to do for this year is kind of take and monitor what you're doing and carefully track successes and participation, because that's going to tell the story to the funders for next year. So the sources that you've identified are, Main Street, they might direct us to sources, but you have to be a Main Street town to access that. That's kind of a tricky there. DECD, they might have, it's one of those things in the budget year, we could talk to our legislators and see if we can figure out a way for something stopgap for this year. but it probably won't be that much. The good news is what you're doing is not a big, heavy lift, but it will give funders kind of a flavor of what you're going to do moving forward and build upon that. So I would look at this year as getting as many businesses as you can to participate, to show up to these meetings, to sign on. I would have what you're putting out there is a non-binding agreement, just something of an interest, of survey or something like that, that you can point to and a spreadsheet. And then when I'm talking to a funder, or you're talking to a funder, say we had, 20 businesses sign up or 50 business, we have a good base here in Newington. And plus we have a lot of, we were talking yesterday, Newington has a lot of, it's known for kind of stuff. We're known for footprints. We have a lot of anchor businesses here that are well known. We should capitalize on that and make sure they're participating. So those are all things that we can take into consideration. I'm going to go and look around the nation at like towns that are similar to us, where they've had success, and take a look at the kind of funders that fund them. There are private foundations that will underwrite this as well. So we shouldn't discount that. The state is and federal right now. We've all read the news. It's not great. Foundations are also suffering a little bit. But you got to get on the radar. So it's all about telling the story, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, but participation is so key. And making sure that you record all that participation and capture that, pictures, get a lot of pictures out there. If you were looking at your brochure, I'd give them an example of some pictures, participation, some stats about how this what's in it for them, kind of beef up the brochure a little bit and say, like you can expect a little business to come through and similar programs would like to get you involved. So not only ask them, but kind of tell them what they'll get in return. And from there, I'll also do a little bit more assessment, and then I'll also take assignments from you as well. Ask me, can you look up, can you research, can you tell me kind of stuff, because I'm new to this committee. So, that's what I'm here to. I'm not, so I need direction as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we will try to funnel it through one person, through Deanna or somebody, so that we're not all bombarding you with questions.
I'm fine. You
Yeah,
can
you're
bombard me. It's
flexible?
okay.
Okay,
I'm flexible.
all right.
Well,
We know you're only one person in the
I'll
entire
create-
town.
I'll
share
create
you.
a collaborative space.
Okay.
And you guys I do have a form, like a Google form, or just a plain, sometimes it's a Google sheet.
Okay.
It's not like thousands of you, so, it's a pretty manageable crew. I have an idea, and I want it to be interactive, and plus if you have the question, chances are someone else has that same question. And you'll see what others doing. So is everybody comfortable with Google Docs, or have a Gmail address? That's kind of key.
I've been using a Google Docs that I have these, as well as the previous documents on the original concept of the idea that was submitted in December, as well as a couple of documents and phases along the way that I have in that shared drive over there.
Oh, that'd be great. Was that something you'd be comfortable sharing with me?
No. I'll check. Fine.
Okay, and that we could do, in other words, if you already have a framework that's existing and working,
Yes.
I could just work with that instead of creating something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my pixel.
Awesome.
Very
Does
cool.
anybody have any questions or like comments or suggestions at this point, or?
Does any other town have a similar program going on right now?
Oh, yeah, there's all different ones. In my experience, I have to go back and check. I haven't looked recently. I want to kind of understand where you guys were going before, so to give me some, I could Google the universe, right? So I needed some direction and a fence around what I'm looking for and what I'm looking to
Because when
accomplish.
you're looking for, I want, like, he created the program. Just we want to know what is the base and how we can reach the business owners and what we have to tell them to be interested in this program. What they will get benefit from this program we'll be sitting on,
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely look that
if
information
you
up and
see if
see
they
if I
have
can
it.
give them some information about what other towns have done with similar programs, and then I'll give you some ideas that other towns have done that we're not doing that you can take a look at as well. Would that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of the towns do collect the data and the foot traffic. They do have counters, pedestrian, you know, how they can geofence and do that and they can tell, nothing's a secret anymore. You step in some towns, they know before you
Mhm.
even walk through there. So there's famous towns like Alexandria, they have a tremendous one. But we're not Alexandria, right? So I want to look for something that's more us. And I want to understand your aspirations as well before I offer things that are not within your scope or thinking or.
Well, we're not opposed to a little suggestion too, if you see things that are working for other towns. I think we're still also figuring out our identity as a group. So I think there's room for growth if you see something that really sparks.
Yeah, 100%. And do you have any questions for Jonathan since? he's
This
here?
is his baby?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is his
Yes,
toddler,
yeah.
I guess now.
Yeah, so just send me as much as you can, things that
Yeah.
you've thought about, things that you don't have time to research, that you want to
Yeah.
research,
Yeah.
or you want to dive into.
Yeah, definitely.
So like if in your perfect world,
Okay.
what do you see as the end goal?
It's interesting. Actually, in December, part of it was what I put in there, kind of like a high-minded idea of it. And for me, it was a sense of belonging. That I feel like the community feels fractured all the time. And it's rare that people have those moments to go and bond over something that's harmonious and enjoyable. And for me, what I always find and believe is your hobbies, your passions are what drives you. And those communities and those engagements on those passions and those hobbies are amazing experiences. And what I wanted to do with the Hobby Odyssey was to give people with interest in a hobby a mechanism to find physical, personal engagement at locations that I think Newington is very a prime beneficiary of businesses that have these community-centered, things where they have people come together at a place to do a thing that they enjoy doing. So I wanted to give them transparency. I wanted to give them agency. And I also wanted to create a mechanism that could be applied across hobbies, that would be designed in a way that would be enjoyable, easy to use, but transferable between hobby to hobby to hobby, such that even if you didn't agree with the hobby or it didn't take with you, the mechanism and the manner of which you engaged because of the Hobby Odyssey was satisfactory and enjoyable enough that you would give it a second chance at another hobby and maybe even a third chance at something else. Because the hope was to bring people together in a community. And I feel like the best way to do that is in person. I feel like that's what we should be doing, ideally. And I feel like there's so many businesses in Newington specifically that really have that. And it's a shame to drive by them and to see small parking lots and small attendants at certain times. And it's like, I've seen them when they get raring when they're going. And then there's some kind of thing happening. There's something that drives volume and population. You even drive by, you look in through the store window, you see excitement and enthusiasm. That needs to be tapped into. That needs to be accessible to people. And it is. Anyone can walk in. I just don't know if there's enough awareness and experience and attribution to it. So that was the hope with the Hobby Odyssey, was that it would give you that vehicle and that mechanism to do that over an extended period of time, as opposed to a flashpoint moment where there would just be a singular event or a singular, opportunity to stop in that could be missed. I wanted to make it be somewhat of a, achievement based, and that you would have a gamification model that you could apply to it too. So that you could participate with everybody in that moment, in that month together with that hobby. And I think that as a mechanism and a vehicle would be interesting and engaging for people so that it could be transferable from hobby to hobby. And I think as long as you design it in a way that can be easily applied, you can make anything you can use a gamification model and concept on any hobby. So that was the hope with it, is that it could be transferable, engaging, and really just foster and create belonging in the community, which I feel like is such a lacking thing nowadays. with, the internet being what it is, it's so tough to get people in a room to talk. Right now, obviously, we're talking, but still,
Yeah, that's good, that's good. So
Sorry,
I see
talk
the
a lot.
vision, I see something, so what I usually do, and when I'm working on something like this, and when you're working through a project, what I use is a logic model. Like I logically, what resources do you need to carry out the activities to get to your goal?
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to know aspirationally, like where you are. I
Yes.
can do an assessment and see like how these are carried out, those activities, and then we'll back into the resources that you need to make it happen.
Yeah.
So, and resources might be just people. People
Yep.
are the biggest key, and I always start with people, because if you don't have people, that's your main resource, and nothing happens, right? So you're never gonna get to your goal. So while we're all here, know that you're the number one resource in this logic of getting to where you want to go. I can help frame out those activities and get people, I see the vision here. I see what you're talking about in terms of over an extended period of time. You're looking to have something that's gamified and transferable and replicable.
Yes.
So those activities, that kind of the framework and what those activities are, we can still flesh out a little bit. And then with that, also on your outcomes, not only your goal, you have your outputs, which is what will change. So I hear a lot of you want to bring the community together. That's a change, right? You want to make the businesses more visible. That's a change. So how do we measure that too? So could be some surveys and stuff like that as an activity as well. So I could put together that framework. How does that sound?
Great.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
Thinking of data we can.
You got one over there.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
The reason is how we're gonna reach the business, how business gonna be participate to this event. Because we're gonna bring the community somewhere.
I
So
don't think that's
business-
her responsibility. I
Yes,
think that's
yes.
gonna come back to us. She's just responsible for grant writing.
Well, no, I think,
No, I'm gonna, I'll put in a
okay.
framework.
Oh, all
because-
right. I
because
apologize.
I'm gonna use that logic model to write the grants. So when I say, here's all the resources that we have, and there's gonna be a gap in the resources, right? So that's gonna be what we're gonna ask a funder for. But if we have these resources, what activities would we carry out to get to our aspirational goals?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so with that, I'll work with you. I'm gonna do some assessments of other places that have like a good return on investment in terms of participation, in terms of the kind of activities, what will draw them there? Is it something physical? Is it medals that they hold on? There's little keychain, you go to,
Yeah.
you go to all the baseball parks and you get those little keychain things. And if you collect those, people like the, I know it's, buttons,
Or travel. Yep.
yeah, little stickers, metal.
It doesn't have to cost much. It just has to mean a
Right,
lot.
Right,
And
so if,
that's easy to do, depending
think of,
on
you
if
know,
you can
those,
create that meaning.
metal things that you put on your car, those magnets,
Yep.
that place, that's.
You climb Mount Washington or
Yeah, so I've driven Newington, or something like that. I've made my footprints or something like that.
I'm really excited. I underestimated what you could do for us. I assumed that it was just gonna be this little box that you were gonna, okay.
well, this is a opportunity at the end of this year to like get this, 'cause that's the goal is, to be able to provide some type of framework for you guys to jump off of. And go from, rather than because these are good ideas, but how are they linked together? But I think that kind of question about how do we reach the businesses, that's something where we can potentially learn from some of those. Again, as Sonia was talking about, those metrics, those things of like, here's the things that we're going to have to do as a town to show, again, those funders to say, here's the people we engaged. But those lessons learned from those other programs, we can learn from them, and not reinvent it. But a lot of that is also going to come down to you as well. Again, the prime resource and your connections with the community, businesses. And as we continue to talk out, there is a lot of, some of this is going to be word of mouth. Some of this is going to be advertisements. It depends on, again, if you don't have a tremendous amount of resources for advertisements, there's a small budget this year. It's more than it was previously.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing, is to continue to build on this. So I think, yes, that is a very important question. How do you reach people? And in the planning world, that is the biggest thing we struggle with sometimes. Again, it's when you're working on larger projects and you're trying to reach the community, it's, how do you reach them where they are? And that's gonna be, a goal, like lessons learned. If there is someone who had a really good example of that, that is a great thing to copy. Because, again,
excellent.
that's the engagement aspect of them selling themselves how they did their program. So again, that's the goal, that's looking out there saying like, I want that to exist. Whether we find it in that exact framework, that's a little different, but I think that's kind of what we're looking for.
That's great.
I'm at my understandings and the way I see it is, I think the first thing is find that hobby for that month. Then what businesses will go with that?
Yeah.
And then we go to those businesses and tell them the opportunity.
Yep.
It's about promotion. And as far as telling other people, it's about the website that we're talking about, the calendar we were talking about, and the Facebook page we're talking about. But I think it's the first thing is get a hobby for a month and let's go with it and just go out and see what we can do with it.
So take a look at what you have in the room already, because that's your captive audience right here. I believe someone owns a yoga studio, right? It's summer.
Yeah.
People want to exercise, right?
Yeah.
There's pool company. People are gonna need pool water, There's a lot of chiropractic for people who hurt themselves while they exercise.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the, and I forgot, I missed your company.
Mechanic, used car dealership. People need to oil change their cars.
Actually, that's an interesting thing. So
I would put that under travel.
or
People are
even
gonna
like,
have to travel to
true,
places.
you know.
or,
You know,
oh, look
I
at
have-
vacations.
I have friends.
I have a sticker in my shop, say if you work on your car, it's $100 an hour.
Yeah.
If you bring your parts, $150 an hour. If you wanna work on your car with your parts, we look at you $200 an hour.
But that's a certain community too. That's a certain
Yeah,
community
so
of
that-
people
so
who
that-
work on
Approach
cars.
me. Some
So we-
people do approach me,
Yeah.
hey, can I come in, bring my own parts? Can I use your tools? Can you use this? Because this is a liability by the insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I cannot do that, but some people, well, after closing, I can make exception if we have a bigger crowd, hey,
Yeah, you
why
have,
not? Says, let's do it.
sometimes you can bring the people to when when Newington does the car shows.
Yes,
So that, why couldn't you just bring every mechanic in town to do a
of
demo?
course, that's
Right,
the,
So that, so sometimes you could bring, the mountain to the people,
those
Um,
the event is the goal if something is ready as kind of pamphlet. Those event is its goal to give the people, so pick their brain up, hey, this is we are in a town hall, we are working on this stuff, you guys are interested, So,
I would start with who's in the room and you can lead your community,
yes,
right? So that
By
would be
example.
by
Yep.
example, right? So I would, it's less work for you. And then also when they see the return on investment that you get and the attention that you're getting, and you promote what happened
Fast.
because of your participation, they're gonna want to do it as well. There's a lot of, I'm trying to think that we've got a lot of pizza places. There's
Yeah, of
food,
course.
there's really good food in Newington.
Yeah.
They
They used to do the food festival in Hartford. The
there's
Taste
a
of Hartford.
a taste of
Taste of
Newington.
Yeah.
Right, so there's a lot of things you can take advantage of. You can do cooking demonstrations at each place. You can assemble, I don't know, a cake by going through all the bakeries, getting an ingredient in place or something like that. I'm just making things up, but start with I would definitely start with here and then branch out to other things. And if they say, why aren't you paying attention to me? Say, join me, join the committee, so bring them along. But you already got like a really good blend in here of you don't have to go out right away. Yes, eventually.
We can be the guinea pigs to demonstrate
Right,
how it works.
right. And then also you make your mistakes with yourselves,
Yeah.
so anything, and you smooth out those bumps.
I mean, there are a number of you that are small business owners and no other business owners. So I mean, it's a networking thing and you can build on it.
It is,
Like
it
she's-
is.
I mean,
Success.
even
Once
if,
it's gone, it's gonna be like, if it's successful, it will be a good advertising thing. People will come and invest,
Right.
Yeah.
with us, how we are looking for grant, we don't have to look for the grant if this gets successful outreach for what we are thinking.
I
Yeah,
actually
for the
would like to
businesses.
see the impact on crime. If the community comes out and starts interacting more and
Oh, I thought you wanted more crime. I was like,
like. The more people know each other, the more people
Sure.
are
Like
connected.
network,
Yeah, or
neighborhood watch, yeah.
respectful of the businesses, or I don't know if there's gonna be, I'd be curious.
Ownership.
I think empathy and compassion work better when you know the people.
I agree.
I think establishing community establishes knowing and furthers the empathy and sympathy within us all. And I think that's the bridge to that. So I think it can potentially, be just a positive, vibrant influence that could even affect things like the Waterfall Festival extravaganza. I know my community, I know these people from my Hobby Odyssey days are going, I'm gonna go. I mean, it could stimulate in a kind of a domino effect on any kind of community engagements that we do.
Yeah, that's an
Potentially.
interesting point, though.
Love it.
Well, thank you. This has been so interesting.
We're good, I'm glad.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
seems like we would benefit from like a shared document of just like listing hobbies that we are interested in and then picking from that list.
Well, once we get a little bit feedback from the other town, then we know exactly, what to do. So,
Yeah, but we can do things in parallel. So go ahead and
Yeah.
start that, we'll build it. It's gonna look messy at first, throwing everything in, but then something will bubble through. So we'll see a trend, we'll see something bubble up. And then eventually this will turn into a calendar. And
Can I send all my documents to you for a shared drive? Because I don't know if I have enough space on a shared drive.
I
depending on-
can use my company share drive.
Okay, because that's my personal shared drive and I pay for that space.
No, that's
I mean, yeah, you guys can start identifying these potential hobby places that you think you want to target just in town, just everybody thinks,
Just brainstorm.
you're all gonna come up with quite a few of the same ones, but then somebody's gonna pick one that's like, oh, I forgot about that or didn't even know it was there.
Also, it's not just me. I have a team behind me, right? So,
Okay.
okay. So I will give, well,
Did
I'm
you
not
actually
saying
try to
dump
look
all this
behind
to
it?
me. What I really mean is there's like 3 staff that are gonna
Interesting.
I'm
go
very
through all
excited.
this.
I
And,
figured we were spreading you so thin throughout the town that I didn't realize you had all that. to
Yeah, we
offer.
have
I'm excited.
a staff. We have a
That's cool.
staff that will help with that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think even looking at that list and looking at the time of year, a holiday or spring versus winter.
Are the kids out of school? Are the kids
Yeah.
in school?
Yeah.
Right. Those are
I
all-
really need to emphasize the example, which was bowling for turkey, which was in November,
Yes.
was very specific to the time frame.
Yes, I remember.
Deliberately so.
So there's always gonna be lessons learned too from, again, talking to the businesses, because there's something when you're looking at it, logically too. Okay, when are you the busiest? That's not when you need the most help.
Yeah.
Correct.
When is your doldrum?
Off-season. You're right.
And it's gonna be different for different businesses. Retail has peaks, everything has certain peaks.
I can tell you, when I go to Vermont, my son has a house in Vermont. When I go to Vermont, I don't buy anything clothes between August and February. I wait till March, the mud season, when there's no one there.
Yes.
They run sales and they do such a great job marketing it. And then, it's probably the only time if you ever try to get a reservation during ski season, it's like, you just make a PB&J and call it a night, because unless you make a reservation days in advance, you're not gonna get one. But so we want to fill those gaps, but the town does a lot of stuff for them to get people to go in for sales. There were food things there was a lot of things that they did that they wouldn't do during ski season, because you're shoulder to shoulder on the sidewalk, but in March, you could probably like lay down on the road. So
would recommend that.
they do things on purpose to
Bring traffic.
bring
Yep.
traffic in.
I wouldn't recommend if they're bringing traffic lying down the road.
Not in Newington, no, that's
No.
not safe, no. But I'm just saying, there are periods of time, like there's
Yeah, no,
that
I
big, we could take advantage of the things that naturally exist for small businesses.
Yeah, and I think that's what's nice about having that month time frame is it gives it plenty of opportunities to engage with the hobby and with the program, but also it's interchangeable and not dedicated solely, through a larger, so I think a month makes sense for me, the way I feel like it, but I'm open always to suggestions. So I'd love to engage more on it too.
Great. This is exciting.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
really is. I know we came together almost a year ago, but this is like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
blossoming. It's
good
definitely
word,
growing.
blossoming. Does anybody have anything else before we move on to the next part of our meeting?
Oh, we're good.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And we're gonna move on to new business. Is there any new
We
business?
still have some items under
Oh.
old business,
Old business, oh,
Oh, town branding.
the town branding.
oh, sorry, town
Town branding
branding,
and
town
welcome letter.
welcome letter, which
Hmm.
that was the one page. All right, so town branding.
Yeah, so it's been some time since I was presenting to you guys about town branding. To give you an idea of it, I don't know how familiar you are with the presentation that we put out, but we're looking to create a town branding. I have a background in marketing. This is something we've done with other towns. The goal of it is to increase the digital footprint of Newington as well as the marketing footprint of Newington, to promote itself, to promote business, tourism, for people to live here. It coincides very well with the Hobby Odyssey and that initiative. It's, last we spoke, you asked about a number behind that. I had a little trouble, but based on the MOU that I was looking at, it is in the like $10,000 range for that kind of work that we were presenting. There's things we can do before we get to that point, and obviously there's going to be grants that involved or town funding in any ways that is involved. And we'll have different agencies propose their budget to us, but there is going to be a cost to us on the advertising side as well. So looking to kind of push that forward in any way we can. I think you'll be very helpful to us as far as getting the funding behind that. I can work to set some goals in mind with that as well. Steps that we need to take in order to kind of get to that point. I'm not sure who needs to be involved on the town side as well in that decision making, because obviously we can't just create a brand for the town
Yeah,
itself.
now that does end up being like a larger discussion. It's
Right.
basically when this commission comes together and says, this is what we're looking. Then I go to my boss, then I go to the town manager, and we have that discussion of, okay, you have the discussion, is this what we're looking for? You kind of create that round table of people in the room, everyone gets involved, and then it goes to council to kind of discuss it. Cause it's a community question.
It's a
It's
large.
an identity. It's something you're putting out there as the community, so it will have that kind of level of discussion, I think.
Yeah, so maybe for our short term, we can decide as a commission what our identity kind of looks like.
Yeah, I think that was
Our
the
mission, our
I
vision.
think what he just said, the identity is
Right.
what we've all kind of came in here a year ago with, like, you guys do what you want. And I think we're finally, after this year, kind of drilling down. So the identity, I think, is the key word.
Yeah.
Of not only us, but the town. It's
Right.
it's a combination of both. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, okay. So on my list, I just recently attended CT Main Street actually had a workshop for the county of Litchfield. They're doing some branding on their end. And they have some exercises for visions and things like that for their specifically Main Street, but it could also apply to us. And I can bring those questions in and we can kind of workshop through those.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, good timing.
Yeah.
Sounds like meant to be.
I know, it was very, very perfect timing. But so I'll bring those in, we can work towards the goals, we can establish an outline that we can present, and then we can work forward on that.
Sounds good.
Wow,
Perfect.
that's great. Awesome, thank you. And welcome letter? Who was handling the welcome letter?
So I followed along with the stuff that you and Gail were going back and forth, and
So this is the sample that we ended up coming up with. I've had the town manager look at it, need some, couple of minor tweaks, but otherwise he's good to go and is willing to, you know, sign these and push these out. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys are okay with it, and then, you know, we need a target list of who do we want to get these to for these welcome letters.
and am I understanding that his office, if we give him the list of businesses, he'll print these out and send them?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Wow, okay.
And he would have the back be the Hobby Odyssey one pager. That was very.
Drops
Very
the
kind.
mic. Go, John. Good.
I don't know if we're quite ready for that yet, but I think they want to get some of these, you know,
Okay.
welcome.
I know I started
One's
working
out.
on a list and I kind of walked away from it, so let me see if I can pick that back up again.
So again, right now, this is really just for the newer businesses kind of situation. They're either maybe just relocated here or just recently opened in Newington. And then again, I think you're gonna look at a target list of, long timers and do some kind of anniversary thing,
Right.
whether it's just once a year, everybody gets one in January or whatever, December. Hey, I don't know how they're gonna,
Right.
work
Keep
that
track,
out,
yeah.
right? But something along those lines and maybe it's something that Sonia can look into is how other towns maybe do that. I don't know if they do, if it's something worthy of doing, but you guys seem interested in it, Gail took some time to come up with this and a couple of tweaks here and there, and I think it's good.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
All right, let me try to get back in the driver's seat for that. I know I offered and I, like a squirrel, there's always 100 things going on. So we started kind of a verbal list at the last meeting. I'll see if I can make this a little more formal and maybe send it out and see if other people think of things.
Yeah, if you
that-
guys want to, amongst
Back and
yourselves,
forth.
just kind of brainstorm through email or whatever, and then just,
Yeah, I would just put that on a doc and send it to all of us.
Okay.
Let's
These are
just-
businesses that you have listed?
So just informally, we started talking about who's been here forever, who were some of the
Okay,
newer
very
ones.
nice.
And then I know Eric has a list. Maybe I can sit down and look at the list as well. Okay.
All right, wonderful. Anything else about the welcome letter as we move forward now to the new business? New business. We have a lot going on in current.
No new business.
there's
Okay.
no real new business or discussion.
All
now.
right, so I'm guessing this goes to you, town planning update, or Eric, which? I don't know
Yeah,
which
I
one.
can just briefly at the last planning zoning meeting last week, there were 2 items approved for auto-related use businesses. One is gonna be taking over where Progressive is over on Commerce Court off of Fen Road. It's he's like an auto detailer, aftermarket items from Middletown or
Middletown, yep.
Middletown.
I think it's accessory warehouse. They were doing the, Middletown is doing the reconfiguration of their waterfront. And they pretty much had to lose their building.
Yeah, he got bought
And
out.
but they chose Newington. And they chose that Progressive building that was over there. It was really perfect for them. They
Yeah.
came and talked to us. They're like, this is great. And we're like, sure, yeah, let's make it
Because
happen.
Progressive had dialed back and basically turned out mostly into offices
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
lately.
yeah.
Doing,
So yeah, they come in and they do, they do the calibration of safety systems and everything. That's why they actually had to go through the DMV license, had to get a special permit just because the DMV makes them get a license for that.
but they also do roof racks and lights and stuff like that.
They do a lot of fleet stuff. So yeah, they're coming in there. And then the other one, I think you mentioned the 15 Homes.
Yeah,
Road.
15 Holmes Road is, it's like,
And again, it's just a continuation of that use. It's the Comer Construction. They actually have a where they do paving boxes and trailers, but again, they're continuing to evolve their
Construction
business
equipment.
for construction
Okay.
equipment. And it's a long-standing business, Stan Construction and Comer in that area, and they're just continuing to
Expand.
expand and continue to work. So we're very happy for that.
Yeah. Oh, great.
so that's really it. We got a couple other minor applications that'll be coming up, but you guys have any questions, as you usually do anyway?
The pickleball, that's in the Market Plaza there.
Mhm.
Did I hear they're sort of temporary or seasonal?
So they were, when they first got approved, they were seasonal. They were trying it out over this winter. We've recently been told that they've extended through the end of this year,
Okay.
and they're going to be coming in to extend their permit as well, the special permit.
Okay.
Because they just did it as seasonal before, and now it can just,
They've been successful, so.
they've been
it's gonna-
successful,
okay.
and they'll let it go through the end of the year and see how it does, and then make another business decision at that time, I guess.
And is somebody moving into the old D'Amato's space?
I've heard off and on, no one's contacted me directly about it. I've just heard out in the wind,
Okay.
but no one has contacted me about taking
Because I
that
know
space.
somebody who'd like that space. Let me see if I can find out if it's official.
Okay,
Okay,
and maybe that's where I heard part of it from, was maybe from you asked me about it before, I think.
maybe, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about all the stuff that's going on in town?
Any other, I wouldn't be a smart butt right now, I'm sorry. Any update on permits that are asked for, like, I don't know, say, do yoga on Market Square?
No yoga studios. No competitors, no.
Okay, yeah, no.
No.
Any update on that? process, or do I wait for approval?
Or,
You responded something about parking. I needed a parking plan. Was it
Was
you?
that for your day?
Yes.
oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
we can have a discussion about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just trying to be, I was
yeah, I got you.
sure in the.
I
got you.
No, no,
I
I,
get you.
He didn't get where
Thank
you
you.
were going.
I know. I was being very serious.
we also did, the building owner of the dry cleaner came in and had
Oh,
some discussions with us. And he's talking about rehabbing the building and putting tenants in there.
oh.
At the last, what was maybe like 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
a month ago.
Okay.
It was a brief conversation and, you know.
That'd be
it's-
lovely, because that space on Market Square just screams at you that it's empty.
Yeah,
And I understand there's stuff that has to be cleaned up.
environmental.
Maybe,
environmental,
it depends. Depends on what they're
Yeah.
gonna do there. If they leave the building and everything, they can move,
Pave
carry
over it,
on
yeah.
and, you know,
That's
whatever.
wonderful. I know I'm gonna ask the loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
What about that building across from CVS that's now back for sale, the
Keeney.
Keeney building?
So Keeney is off the market. They put it
Okay.
back on the market, they put it off the market. They are evaluating
Really?
what they're gonna do for the future of that site. I might as well say too, because you know, we all know the town center master plan is ongoing. At the end of this month, it's likely the 26th. I should have a
Mhm.
confirmation on that after tomorrow. After we review kind of where we're at with what Colliers has produced as far as kind of moving that plan forward. Again, we've gone through the visioning stage. I think you've all seen the multiple, you know, the couple surveys that were out there. I was out during Waterfall. We tried to get out into the community to actually, you know, hear people what they want to see or what they don't want to see. It's all those combinations. We had a good charrette here actually in this council chambers. It actually pretty much filled up the room, which I was happy. It's always good when you get participation. And again, what will come out on and again, it's likely the 26th, that'll be that meeting, is it'll be kind of the draft plan. And that's the point when, again, nothing's in stone. This is the thing for the community to come out and say, yes, this is what they've heard from that visioning process through the public input process. And this is what's come out on this side. And then say, okay, what are the elements of this that you like, don't like? Is this something we can move forward as kind of a master plan? Because we all know it's public land zone. To do anything major, yeah, the Hartford Hospital property is public land zone. To do anything major to that property, they would be likely looking at a zoning amendment. And when you're doing a zoning amendment, you really have to think about how this area is going to transform, what impact it's going to have on Newington, and what the community would like to see. Because, you know, there's certain parts of it, you know, I know that there's plenty of people out there like, I just want to see open space.
Yeah.
That's great. I do too. Open space has a cost. You know, it's one of those, if you want to see open space, you know, do you have $8 million? There is a cost to that. So, you know, what balance can be done there? What type of future master plan? And then we'll have that discussion again. This master plan process is about really the community engagement part of it and getting that vision out there and then seeing what the community thinks of that vision. Then that's something that can be picked up by a developer to say, okay, this is what the community has said. If this is where we're kind of providing them some guidance. Again, a master plan like this, we're not designing it out. It's not going to be every single street. It's not, you know, that, but it is looking at kind of the feasibility of that and then identifying that for the community too. There might be elements of the plan that are more feasible than others. And we'll kind of have those discussions about how this could get developed out because we will have to have those zoning discussions in the future.
Because I heard from a few people, big little mall coming there. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, and you know,
Little
malls aren't
coming in
the
there.
hottest use right
no.
now and the most profitable. But, they still find their place, which is interesting. If you follow, the couple survive, and it has to be that in that perfect spot with that.
Yeah.
Malls survive in an area pretty much of high disposable income and high density of population. You need those type of things for those type of uses to survive because, you know, your typical stores of, you know, Claire's, KB Toys that we all remember, things like that can only go so far in this environment because you get so much, you know, shipped to you.
Yeah.
But it needs to be those type of stores that can't easily be replicated. So that's why malls have had a hard time. But yeah, again, we'll see what the options are and discuss it with the community and keep moving forward. Again, nothing is set in stone. This is just to get this, you know, into the community, having this discussion. Again, the goal is to not, you know, the goal primarily is not to get to that stage when you have a developer coming in who just says, I'm doing this, and there's been no community discussion about it. That is when you set yourself up for a very contentious type of proposal. You have, that community outcry, the developers coming in and they pretty much either say, no, I'm not gonna deal with this. Or you do not want to have like a contentious application if you can avoid it. You might still, we don't know what the future is. We don't know exactly who's gonna come in and what they're gonna want to put in. But the key is we need to understand what the community is looking for.
So it's still malleable at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
And
it's a
that might
living,
be part
breathing
of-
Document is what I'm hearing,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
And that might be part of why Keeney's kind of holding back to see what eventually it's like, okay, we can deal with this or maybe not, who knows?
Yeah, no, that's great.
Again, it's not do not expect that this solves everything.
Right.
No, that would take $1 million and we do not have that type of funds to
Everybody
do
will
it.
not be pleased. There will
Exactly.
always
You're
be
not gonna
some that
please
are-
everybody, right?
Yeah.
And we know that. All of us in this room know we can't please everybody,
Yeah.
so, but.
Yeah, and the key for us is to keep that conversation going after this too. This is just a start.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Very exciting to be part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm,
I agree.
Kind of cool.
Awesome.
Right.
And thank you for that update, both of you. Public participation, anybody else on, Eric?
No one else is in the room or online from the public?
Okay. That moves us into commissioner comments. Anybody have anything?
Anyone?
I've just been yapping the whole time, so.
I know, I just want to say thank you. I haven't been here in a couple months because I've been dealing with my business. So I just want to say thank you for this great idea and all the forward momentum and the enthusiasm and
Yeah.
I see some new faces, so even better. So I'm just really excited and nice to meet you finally and so happy you're here and helping us. And Eric, as always, great to see you. So just excited. I can't wait to see what we do next.
Okay.
And that's it. All right. Adjournment, who is ready to end the meeting?
Okay, I second.
All right, ending the
Beautiful.
meeting at 7:58.
Oh, good timing.
Wow, everybody, that was awesome. Thank you, thank you.
Sonia, I just want to.
Everybody.